We're back.
Welcome to Double Dose. I'm your host, Dipesh.
And I'm your host, Daniel.
And we're here to take you from Earth to GNZ11.
For
Daniel,
sure.
First topic of the day, man. I was just wondering, you know how, like, when we were younger and, like, $2 would get you just a stupid large family size of hot chips?
Yes.
From the local takeaway shop?
Yep.
And then, like, you know, growing up, the phrase was cheap as chips. We
Yep.
all know what that meant. Do you think that with the recent pricing increases and shit, how like hot chips are like fucking $10 or something at places, do you think like Gen Z would even understand the phrase cheap as chips? Do they have phrases like that? Are they going to have phrases like that? Or are they going to be old-timey phrases? Are they going to sound like old-timey phrases like when we grew up and we heard like pot calling the kettle black or hair of the dog? Because that was old for us.
Okay, so you think, will there be any new ones, or do you think that the cheapest chips will be even relevant?
I don't think the cheapest chips is relevant. I feel like that's going to be like old-timey sounding to them because they're like, chips aren't cheap. And are they going to have their own phrases? Do you think phrases like that will come up anymore?
I don't know. I think that I think chips are pretty damn expensive now.
They've gone pretty stupid. Even burgers.
You know, like I don't know, Uber Eats is really expensive, but when you're going Uber Eats, you buy like a packet of chips. Sometimes, like, it could be anywhere from. I've seen places charge $15 for a box of chips.
That's fucked.
And it's that big.
Yeah.
About like, you know, a couple of
Two palm sizes.
2 palm size, full.
Yeah. So like, will they have their own phrases, or are those a thing of the past now?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of one that's pretty recent, but
Because
I
like
can't think
phrases
of
for us, like pot call the kettle black and stuff, like we can't relate to that. You'd have to look up where that originated, and that's going to be the same for the stuff that we brought up with that we understand.
So, I think I don't know if there's going to be any new ones, but surely there's some I just can't think of right now. But for instance, you know the one where it's rule of thumb?
Yeah.
Do you know where that's from?
I don't.
I think it's either two things. I don't think there's any 100% sure tell of where it actually came from. I've heard one that the rule of thumb is something to do with tailors, like, you know, it's a thumb width or something like that.
Okay.
Or like using your thumb as a measurement guide, something that the tailors use. Mm-hmm. But I've also heard that it stemmed from this old saying that was you couldn't beat your wife with anything wider than your thumb.
Wow. Okay.
So it was this rule that, you know, they couldn't call the cops and she couldn't do anything if you had something that was as smaller than your thumb and you used it to beat her and to keep it in line.
That sounds about right. And everyone was so just acceptable about just women beating back in that time. It was so weird that was just like, oh yeah, I just beat my wife the other day. You see?
Yeah. Keep Sally in line.
You burn my bacon, I smack you around, you see?
Yeah.
That's funny, dude.
Everyone spoke so different back then too.
Yeah, dude. That was a very strange time. The rule of thumb, like those things are kind of strange. Yeah, I don't know.
And there was this funny video a while ago that I saw where this guy would flip the words of certain sayings. You know, for instance, you say neither here nor there, and you would say neither there nor here.
Right.
And so he kept doing that. It was a video where he kept changing the reverse, and people just thought, it's so weird to hear it, but it's still the same meaning.
Don't quote me on this. I found this out recently, and I had a bit of a out-of-body experience. I'm trying to think of a way to ask you the question for you to answer it. What if you were asking for someone to get the silverware out of a drawer so you could eat, the two primary ones?
Mm-hmm.
Say to your mum, can you go get me a baba? What order you say? What order are you saying it in?
I would say knife and fork.
Yeah, see, apparently that's the common one in Australia. For some reason, I grew up saying fork and knife, and don't quote me on this, but I think that might be an American thing. I don't know. But yeah, I just realized that, yeah, a lot of people say knife and fork, and I say fork and knife, and then now I realize why my partner's mum one time, I said, can I please have a fork and knife? And she's like, what knife? because fucking knife.
Okay. Well, I think that ending on the k sound is a lot more maybe nicer. So I can understand why maybe that's become a certain thing that Aussies do. It's that you'll end on the nice crisp sound versus you end on knife, which kind of lingers. So the fork is very
very abrupt.
Hit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Aussies, like what I just said then, I don't know. It's so strung together, the word in itself.
It is.
Instead of saying, I don't know, which probably is
I don't know.
a better way of speaking.
I don't know.
More clear way of speaking.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to eat you something very strange.
Dude, fire away.
Okay. You are the man of the culinary. You are the man of
I do enjoy cooking.
Right?
Yep.
This guy knows a lot about chefistry.
I watch an unhealthy amount of
cooking
videos, yeah.
So I came across this video. I really hope you haven't seen this. But there's this guy. One of the most interesting ways of cooking a piece of food I've ever seen in my life. He was able to cook an entire chicken by slapping it.
Oh, okay. I do remember the meme coming out, like how hard and fast do you need to slap a chicken in order to cook it?
Yeah.
Because it's a thermal ready.
It's the thermodynamics. Thermodynamics that gets.
So someone's done
energy
this.
gets transferred. I think it's maybe Newton's second law of thermodynamics that every action has an equals opposite reaction, but all energy is transferred and never lost. So if you slap something really hard and it hurts your skin or whatever, you can do that enough times that you'll be able to cook a damn piece of meat.
Wow.
So he did it. He actually cooked it.
Is it a cause and effects? Is he cooking his hand as he's cooking the chicken?
So he was not able to cook it with his own strength. He needed to build a machine to slap the chicken continuously until it cooked.
Oh my god, dude! This guy from this guy definitely was from the era where you slapped your wife. As soon as he heard about slapping, he was like, oh, I gotta get on this.
Yeah. So he was able to do it. How many slaps do you think it took?
How hard and fast is he slapping the chicken?
Well, what if you had
slapping
to
the chicken sounds like a saying, like choke the chicken.
Yeah, I get what you mean. So it was pretty fast, but how fast do you think it would be?
I'm picturing it's like a little rotary machine, like the hands fucking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 200 SPM slaps per minute.
For how long?
Oh shit! Okay, 3.5 hours.
Okay, 200 slaps per minute, and then per minute. Let's do some quick calculations off the top of my head. Quick maths. So how many minutes in an hour? So 60 minutes.
Yep.
So that's times 60, 1200, 200 SPM. What's that?
By the way, whatever you say,
slaps per minute.
Whatever you say, I'm going to agree on because I'm bad at math.
No. 12,000 slaps per hour is what you're saying. Per hour, 24.
Yes.
That's like 50,000 slaps a day. No.
God damn.
100,000 slaps a day.
Old generation are just loving this sound.
Oh my God, I hope I got my maths not totally wrong here. But there was a number and he got it. He was able to do it. So I'll give you some bit of backstory first, is that he needed to get the chicken to, it did not look cooked when he showed it.
Okay.
But he went to the FDA, guidelines and said, how long do you need to cook a chicken for?
Yep.
And usually it's 75 degrees Celsius. Internal temperatures for...
I think that's Fahrenheit.
75 degrees flashed, I think, on each side for a certain amount of minutes. But he was worried that would be too high of a temperature to achieve by slapping. So he looked up, and if you cook it at 10 minutes at 55 degrees Celsius, it would cook. It would be considered cook. I think it was 10 or 30 minutes that he had to hold the temperature of 55 degrees of slapping, right?
Oh, right. Okay. Yep.
So it needed to be slapped.
I think it's 65 Fahrenheit. I think for chicken.
But it just needed to be held over that amount of time. Don't quote me on the time. I forget what it was.
In order to be considered safe to eat.
Yes.
Yep.
So he was slapping it with this machine.
Yeah.
And
I love that you're doing it like that.
The number he came to was 135,000 slaps, and it took him 8 hours to cook, 8 or 9 hours to achieve it, because over time you could see, and he had to build this encasing, he had to buy and build this special encasing that he would wrap in the chicken in this very tiny sack. And the sack was very special because it allowed heat to come in, but it didn't allow heat to come out.
Okay.
So it was almost like a vacuum seal of this special material. And the device looked like some sort of seesaw that was tilted on one side, and it was just coming down like 100 times almost every 10 seconds. It was just bam, 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 just nailing this chicken. And it took him weeks to achieve this because the machine kept breaking.
What?
There was so much force being generated that it sounded like a jackhammer.
Yeah, like a couple of questions. What are people that are walking past that house thinking, hearing that? How do you sleep with that running, throughout the night? And also, what method of cooking are we thinking of? That is that classified as? Is that baking a chicken because it's in a like a bag?
I guess you're boiling it to a degree because the heat.
Its own heat.
It's boiling it, really.
Yeah. Did the chicken fall apart?
So it was he could not eat it because the thermal paste or the fiberglass insulation that he had created burst onto the chicken. Right. But when he opened it up, it looked cooked. But he did cook and eat a steak, which was much lower temperature needed. And that thing looked brown on the outside and pink in the middle.
Really?
And he was able to eat it. But he said...
Is it just a section of the meat or overall?
Whole thing.
Really? Yes. So it just transfers meat?
Yeah, it transfers the whole
temperature.
Meat. And he had this big, thick... He had to get the thickest bit of cut he could because he's worried it was going to get pounded into oblivion.
Oh, yeah.
But he said when he ate it, it was almost unchewable because it tasted like he had been chewing it for about 5 hours. Because it was pounded so many times.
I wonder what that does to the proteins, the fibers. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Dude, that's so weird. I like that though. I like the dedication. Is he an engineer?
Yeah, he's an engineer that's got this YouTube channel that is very specific to, doing these kind of kooky experiments and doing very strange ways of doing stuff. And also, let's just build this because I can.
Yeah, okay. I like that.
So it was possible and he proved it. But it happened with a lot of failures. And I give props to the guy. It was one of the most interesting videos I had seen. And the streams he had posted of, the letdowns and the machine breaking so many times and reinforcing the machine and rebuilding it to make it stronger because heaps of time, the bolt would just break because it was just under so much force and pressure.
As an engineer, I bet you he loved this whole experiment. It wasn't even about the chicken. It was just making this thing work and do its job.
For sure.
Yeah.
It was super interesting, and I thought you would like it.
No, I do appreciate that. And I can't say that I can bring that into my culinary experience, but it's good to know.
Yeah.
If you're at the dinner table and you serve up some raw chicken, just slap it around a little bit in front of everyone. And
just to heat it up a bit more. If it's
dinner's
cold.
ready.
If it's cold, it's cold. Mum, I can come in 5 minutes. I'll slap it when I get there.
This chicken's a little raw. Let me just... Man, have you heard of this this Dave Chapelle getting tackled?
Okay, that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. This Dave Chapelle thing.
So, what are your thoughts on that?
So, from what I understood, a guy jumped on stage towards the end of the show, tackled him. He had a knife that apparently looked like a gun.
Yeah, like it was apparently like a knife concealed in a gun.
Yes. And I said...
A prop gun or something.
I thought that was extremely weird because why would you have a knife that looks like a gun?
You'd have a gun that looks like a knife. If you're going to conceal a weapon in...
No, you want a knife that looks like
a gun.
No, sorry, you want a gun that looks like a knife.
No.
You'd want the opposite.
No, because you want to have the element of surprise. You bring out a knife and
pull out a knife.
Yeah, and they're like, what are you going to do?
And you shoot them.
Exactly.
So you want a gun that looks like a knife.
Yes.
Yes, that's what I said.
Oh, sorry, I must have misheard. But yes, but he went the opposite way.
Yes.
Imagine getting pulled up for a gun. You're like, it's okay, it's just a knife. And they're like, nice try, buddy. Back of the line.
Yeah. So I thought that was super weird.
Yes.
That he had that as the weapon. But when did you see the video?
I have seen the video.
Okay, the TMZ one?
Yes.
What does that stand for again? TMZ?
I don't know, pieces of shit.
Okay.
United.
Yeah. So he runs on stage, but it didn't even look like he was fumbling to get something out of his pocket or anything like that. It was him rushing the stage and doing a half-assed tackle with a
Terrible
backpack on.
tackle.
Half-assed tackle that barely looked like it knocked him over.
He needs to talk to the engineer guy in order to practice shit before he executes it, because
And
that
then
tackle was...
he
Dave
didn't-
Chappelle, like, passed off
Yeah, but
the
then
tackle.
if he really wanted to hurt him, he could have definitely pulled it out and then, done
Yes.
something. But
He was definitely
didn't.
in the vicinity to use the weapon.
Yeah, but he didn't.
He didn't, and I got a video that I found on TikTok that I want to show you that I found really interesting. Let me bring this up right here. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna hit play.
All right.
Okay, so you probably know by now, but Dave Chappelle was attacked at his show last night. And I would not normally post about this, but I'm kind of confused as to how this happened because I was at the Dave Chappelle's show at Hollywood Bowl on Saturday. I don't have any pictures, I just have this video from the 30th walking in, because this was the most strict show I've ever been to in my life. First of all, no one was allowed to have their phones. They made us put our phones in a locked sleeve. Then they checked you for your phone, or Apple Watches, or Bluetooth headphones. They checked your bags, and then you went through a metal detector. And usually you can bring picnic stuff and drinks in to the Hollywood Bowl, but they were super strict. They were making people throw away their picnic stuff. People were on the side chugging their drinks before they went in. But according to the reports, he was able to get in a replica handgun that was also a knife.
History.
So what I'm wondering is, how did someone get footage of it if they were so strict with the phones? Trust me, I was personally annoyed by the phone thing. And what's interesting is the first person who posted about it is this guy who works for this company, a nonfiction entertainment studio. And then here's an interview with him. XTR is at the forefront of the documentary revolution. But what we see here, he didn't film this. This is a screen recording. He's an executive producer for this XTR company, a global nonfiction entertainment studio. And here's the guy who did it. He got torn up. But what I'm not understanding is, how did he get on stage? There was so much security, both employees from Hollywood Bowl dressed in yellow, but also a bunch of staff that was dressed in black suits, which I'm assuming some worked for the venue in yellow, and then the ones in black probably worked for production. And of course, I found his Instagram, so this is him right before the show. Ironic that he's using the bloody nose filter because, yeah. And obviously he follows Dave Chappelle. I mean, I don't know. I'm just a bit confused by this all. I don't think that Dave Chappelle would ever do a publicity stunt like this. He doesn't need to. Oh, and what makes this even more bizarre is that Chris Rock was at the show and performed. I don't know, the whole thing is really weird. But as we see multiple people...
So, I find that really fascinating because I have been to a stand-up comedy show 3 or 4 years ago, and that comedian was very large, and he had people, their job the whole time was just to hold torches, and if anyone was shown with their phone out recording the show, they'd just shine a light on them and someone would escort them out because you were told to put your phones away. So venues that have like exclusive content are very, very specific about the media leaking out. They want to be able to control what goes out, right?
Okay.
So this is really interesting. Why was this footage out? Why is it just after the events happened? And then the guy that to tweet it is seriously like some producer, part of some marketing thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay. The thing where she brought up the Chris Rock thing, I think was nonsense and not useful at all. Just saying, oh, well, Chris Rock was there, so therefore it's a conspiracy. I don't think that had any merit at all.
Yeah, me neither.
I am interested to know about the recording thing, but then, I have to think, and my thoughts are that stuff gets leaked all the time, whether you're allowed a phone or not.
Right.
Movie sets, Andrew Garfield on the set of Spider-Man and all that, that got leaked right way before anything was shown and whatever. And, they had the real footage.
Yeah.
Another thought is that it's a publicity not a publicity stunt by Dave Chapelle, but a publicity stunt done by this entertainment company. Maybe this company had producers' rights. He's able to go back scene. He's not being checked. You know, the shot where it looks like he's the person filming is way offset. You know, they're not in the crowd at all. It's a far back shot.
It is.
And it looks like it could potentially be off towards where maybe the staff work. My theory, just watching the video and with this information that you told me, is that someone knew that this was going to happen because they're filming it as it's going to happen. If you're saying it's a strict event, and I don't know.
Like, the only footage of the actual thing is of this guy, and any other footage that's like, you know, snuck in is after the event.
Okay.
Meaning if
everyone's phones are put away.
Everyone's, you know, I don't want my phone taken away. But this event happens. Oh God, I got to record this shit for fucking my 10 followers on Snapchat. But the only person that got the actual footage of that event happening, knowing it was going to happen, is this guy that just happens to be in this industry, and I think that's really sus, man. And I'm also leaning towards believing that because we really do live in like this weird era of like making shit leak on purpose in order to drive ticket sales and hype you know, get people's attention. So it wouldn't, you know, like the way Meta is running right now, like, you know, there's crazy fucking teams working on companies like that to hack into. They know how the human brain works, what people are going to be interested in, what they're going to be glued to.
For sure. I think potentially it's leaked by some sort of network or agency that specializes in viral marketing or something like this. And someone was on the inside that had special rights and didn't need to have the camera checked. Let's say
I'm not saying that what happened wasn't fake, because that guy definitely got fucked up.
Yeah.
His arm was in the wrong spot.
Yeah, but it looks like potentially they were ready to go. The camera was pointed exactly where that guy was as he starts running, which is super sus.
And like you said, it was the end of the show. Why are you recording the end of a show? You're going to probably record like him coming on stage or something.
I don't know. I'm not going to judge about that. But it's interesting. And he didn't look like he wanted to hurt him at all. When he jumped on the stage, it looked like a half-assed attempt.
It was like, okay, how do we do this so it looks real enough but doesn't really cause Dave Chapelle any harm?
And the fact that he had a gun that looked like a knife is super weird.
I think that's just a weird thing that they added. Like, it's like almost like planted type of thing. It's so bizarre. But yeah, it's just, you know what?
A knife that looked like a gun. Yeah.
Yes. No, that's what we said was better.
No, a knife that looked like a gun. It looked like a gun.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Yeah.
I think the way I'm seeing it in my head
is reversed.
Yeah, it's reversed. It would be really interesting to talk to the people that know that guy, the attacker.
Yeah.
And just to get an understanding of who he was. Like, you know, it wouldn't surprise me that this guy's a loner.
Yeah, okay.
Someone you could easily just write off.
Unfortunately, maybe he's some sort of scapegoat.
I know that's getting heaps of deep.
Stuck in, and now he's going to have a criminal record his whole life over this.
Yeah, but what if you just got
ridiculous
fucking,
stuff?
He's $1 million. Shut the fuck up and just break an arm for us. You're just going to do this thing for us.
Maybe. I doubt they'd give $1 million. This is no-name company. I'd have to look more into this company. Send me the link to it and I'll do my research.
Okay, you do some research.
Dive deep, son.
Yeah, dude. So I thought that was really interesting because, like, it's not the first time like something like this has happened, and you find out that it was orchestrated because enough people don't let it settle down. But it wouldn't surprise me if things like this are orchestrated, because even when the Will Smith thing happened, it was pretty polarizing. A bunch of people were like, it's fake as shit, and a lot of people were like, that looks very genuine.
Yeah,
and it's hard to know.
That is hard to know, but the fact that Chris Rock immediately kind of came out and said,
was that Will Smith?
And that did not look fake.
No.
At all. It looked like a half-assed attempt because maybe Will Smith in the last second thought, oh shit, if I punch him hard, I'm going to get fucked. So then he kind of just went, and slapped him at the last second. But it looked totally unexpected. And it looked like a real flinch because, in the flinches in the films and fake ones, either they don't move at all, but it looked really embarrassing and sudden, and Will Smith didn't look like he was prepared for it either.
No, Chris Rock's whole thing, throughout the whole thing, 100% genuine.
And the reaction after
Yeah.
looked like exactly like someone would. It was very embarrassing and very awkward.
Yeah.
And that is what sold it for me because he did not know what to say.
No matter acting could make you act like that.
Yeah, that's right. It just looked like he stuttered and went, he was totally shocked.
He was about to give us another zinger back because that's his weapon. He's fucking quick wit.
I guess, but
And he was about to say something and he
totally-
goes, nah. And then he just went on to something else.
He handled it like a beast.
Oh, yeah, big time.
I would have
Boss
like,
tings.
absolutely been in shock and would have just called the fact that he didn't say
he was-
anything.
he was in shock 'cause
didn't
no
get
one was
the whole-
doing anything.
The whole thing shut down. The fact that he was so professional.
He was, dude. Yeah.
If he called it and said, I can't keep going, that's ridiculous, they would have shut the show and curtains.
It's very bizarre that it just shows like someone like that level could just get away with that.
That's alarming on TV. And they applauded him after like he was some sort of hero. You know, the standing ovation when he accepted the Best Actor award. It was like a cartoon. You couldn't write this shit. You couldn't write this shit into a TV show. That's how good it was.
There's another angle of Chris Rock standing there and he's looking into the audience and you can see him like maybe making eye contact with a familiar face and he's just like what? I don't know what's going
happening?
on.
What's
like
happening?
what's happening because no one acknowledged what the fuck just happened.
Yeah, and the after party was Will Smith just going at it and loving life without a care in the world.
So bizarre, dude.
I felt very sorry for Chris Rock and I was embarrassed and disgusted to see the reaction of Hollywood. But he's banned for 10 years now, you know. You got to ban 10
Really
years
enough.
out of the
It's not
Academy.
really enough.
Can't
Just
do it.
treat him like a citizen. Like treat him
He
like
should
the,
be-
treat him like the
I
fucking
said-
guy that jumped on stage to attack.
Yes,
Dave
he should be
Chappelle.
arrested immediately and escorted off the premise.
100%.
And the fact that when he came back and said someone from the Academy went up to him and asked him to leave, and so he tried. I said, so what? He just refused to leave. It's like going up to a cop and being like, "You're under arrest." He's like, "No, I refuse." Well, he's got us there.
He's got us there.
That's so dumb. Anyway,
Yeah, man.
you were mentioning about Johnny Depp before.
Oh man.
You been following
No,
at all?
dude. Why? So when it just started trending, which was like last week,
Yep.
early last week.
Yep.
I'm not on socials too much, and I saw it pop up. I'm like, okay, cool. This is the thing now. This is the thing everyone's going to be talking about. And I
Sure.
actively was like, I could not care.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I went on any social media from Reddit to fucking Instagram, TikTok, it is just in my face constantly.
Yeah. It's the
Everyone
thing to
talking
follow
about it
right now.
And then also on top of that, my YouTube homepage had it up there, like several videos, and I went out of my way to hit the hamburger menu, not interested. The next day I come back and they're still recommending because they think like every single person on this planet cares about this. And I understand in America it'd probably be even more hype, but it's just for the Western world. It's so weird that it
This
almost
gets so much media attention.
it almost feels like media forces it on people, and then people have the fear of missing out on what's trending, and then it trends, so media goes, let's keep covering it. And it's just this weird cycle.
Okay. I kind of agree with that. I'm not following it. I'm seeing it all the time. It will not leave my feed.
No.
And I haven't gone out of my way to say no to this, but I am definitely not pursuing it, but I'm seeing it all the time and just seeing the people complain, people do this. It's almost as if there's nothing else in the world that's better than what's going on with Johnny Depp. Who has
feels
been out of the public eye for so long. And wasn't the accusations a couple of years ago?
I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, he was in Australian news because he brought in his dogs without declaring them.
But didn't he get deported?
I think they sent the dogs back.
Just the dogs?
Yeah.
Okay.
And everyone was like, by the way, I have a dog. I will die for my dog, but at the same time, I'm not going to risk Australia's ecosystem for a dog. And people were like, why punish the dog? It's like, you're not punishing the dog. It's literally such a risk bringing this overseas animal. That's why we declare things.
Yes.
That's
and
why they had to, like, you either put it down or you take it back to America. And I agree with that.
100%. And
bringing the
I don't
foreign
like
thing.
this mentality that
Because he's a
a
celebrity.
lot of the celebs just feel like the rules don't apply to them because they're so famous.
Like
so
the tennis player.
Yeah. Djokovic.
That's right.
And I am unvaccinated, so I can come into the country. I have exemption.
People know my name. Why can't I just do whatever I want?
Yeah, that was embarrassing, and I'm glad they sorted it out. Like, and he wasn't allowed to play because otherwise it just sets a precedent that everyone can do that.
The worst part is like I see it as like heaps of people made it through, and he's like, oh, well, all these other people are doing the same thing. I'll get through. And then one person that isn't like high up in the organization of that found out, and they're like, I'm not letting this go away because I wasn't able to visit my mum. And then they're going to whistleblow, so they're like, fuck, we better address it.
Well, just I am so happy that they did
Yeah, me
because
too.
it set the
Me too.
precedent. Otherwise, that you can do whatever you want, and Australia won't take it serious.
Yeah, no, I agree. And yeah, it's just so like, I just feel like it's very strange, man. It feels like it's being shoved down my throat in as a distraction. Like it's like why is it so important that I see this?
Yeah. I couldn't care less because, well, it's just this bickering between one famous person, one not so famous person, right?
Like I get people are interested in celebrity gossip. Like I'm not going to take that away from people. You know, that's why the Kardashians are a thing. But it's just so bizarre, like that it's this much attention.
Yeah, it's a bit... I'm so sick of it. I get so sick of the damn media and what they tend to cover, you know, when there are serious problems out in the world, global warming, bushfires. When it was Australia, it was like not a lot of people covering it, or people overseas were covering it better than our own,
Yeah.
you know, our own media because
But even
it's
like-
not that bad.
The whole Russia stuff right now in Ukraine, like it's so weird that this is on my feed more than that.
Yeah.
When this is like has the Russia thing has the potential to affect the whole world.
Yeah, I know. And then this is just, well, celebrity gossip, man. It's a massive thing.
Imagine being like from a country nearby Ukraine
Yeah, you'd be shitting
and
yourself.
tuning into socials and being like, this is what the world cares about. I'm going through this and this is what the world cares about right now.
But this is... The news feed you're getting is tailored to you.
Yeah, regional
It's
specific.
regional specific.
Yeah,
It's not...
yeah. Fair enough.
It's not the person... It's not the global news because other places will cover it. You know, for instance, I think ours is very restrictive into what else happens around the world. It's very who cares and very fluff pieces, especially a current affair and all that. It's very weird.
Yeah, anything like the Murdoch shit.
It's very bad and very low.
I think even just saying
Quality.
Murdoch has just fucking...
We've been flagged.
We've just flagged and been taken off YouTube.
Yeah, that's it. We're flagged.
We've
can't have
abused the
anything.
Australian rights.
Yeah, because we said Murdoch.
Yeah.
And it triggered the AI to
To flag any shadow ban. We've just been
shadow
shadow banned.
ban. Yeah.
Episode 3, shadow ban. Woo!
To the dark, to the shadow realm. We've been sent.
Murdoch just comes out of the void
And just, yeah.
with his wrinkly fucking chops hanging by the side of his cheeks and just goes, I challenge you to duel.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
So
That's my hot take. It's so weird that it's just being shoved down my throat, and I have tried to get away from it, and I can't. And it's to the point where I now know like bits, like highlights of the trial, which I could not care about. It's weird that I have that information.
Yeah, I agree.
I couldn't care.
And if my personal take on it from the beginning, I think that she seems to be lying from what I can understand, is that she's making the whole thing up. And he
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and she's crazy, and that she I don't know if it's all of it like is a lie.
No,
but for instance,
it's
that
definitely
people are pulling
very
out
plain.
stuff that seems to be she's over embellishing everything, and Johnny Depp's at the mercy of, you know, very serious accusations.
Also, the fact that he's just being as transparent as fuck just shows that he's just like, all right,
The lawyer looks
you
like
wanna
an
do this,
idiot.
we're
The
doing
lawyer
it.
for Amber looks like a complete idiot.
yeah, just,
He objects to himself. Objection, and you ask the question. Oh yeah, it's really bad.
hopeless.
Okay, I wanted to bring up something to you.
Shoot.
A very strange experiment. Don't look. Very
I'm not
strange
looking.
experiment that happened in 1865 by George Stratton.
Okay.
Okay, I hope you've never heard of it.
We're going way back.
We're going way back. I felt this was very interesting to the point of human experience and to the point of how our brains can adapt to certain scenarios and to certain things around our world. Because so I had the very interesting thought of, you know, like our eyes see everything upside down, right? You know that, like our brain flips it upside down.
Yeah.
And for some reason or other, when I move my left hand, my right side of my brain is controlling that. And when I move my right hand, the left side of my brain is controlling that. So it's flipped for some reason,
I think
right?
it's also the same with the way our ears pick up sound. Sounds on the left side, your right ear will pick that up better. And
with the left brain?
I think because I remember seeing this experiment where someone like put like earmuffs with two tubes coming out into a long strip pipe with like funnels.
Yeah.
And if you had the right ear going out of the right funnel and someone talked out over there, you wouldn't hear it in the wrong spot. If you flip the tube so the wires were crossed, you could hear it correctly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. So this experiment, this is 1865, dude. So this is old as hell.
No tech around this time.
This is 170 years ago almost.
Was radio around this time? Radio?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I have to check it.
Yeah.
Steam was in the 1600s, so actually maybe. Who knows?
Yes.
All right. This guy wanted to test what would happen if he wore glasses that flipped his eyesight upside down. Okay?
Okay.
So the glasses would flip everything, so it's just completely inverted. So where I'm looking up, it's the you know, the ground is on the roof in what I'm seeing, right?
Yes.
So it's like you turn your
full
head
180.
You turn your head 180 degrees and you're like walking around like that.
I see where this is going. Okay, yeah, okay.
So he did this for 8 days. Okay.
Wow.
8 days.
From morning till night.
He slept with an eye mask on.
Yeah.
Did not open his eyes while he transferred from these special glasses to sleep.
I like how in those days there's special glasses when you could literally just like cut two little mirrors now and just put them on.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah.
He designed it himself and built it, right? The first day, he said the environment was completely unreal and strange to him. Mm-hmm. So he's walking around, everything felt alien. You know, he's looking at the roof and the sky. When he was walking around, his hands were getting very confused. You know, he'd reach for things with the wrong hand, right? Because it's flipped, so he needs to use his other hand just with the way what he's seeing. The second day he did it, he said everything started to feel a bit better, but his body felt very, very strange. So his body felt out of place. Like he felt like the landscape was getting better, but his body felt disconnected.
Okay.
The third day, he said he was seeing completely normal.
Really?
Yes.
That quickly?
3 days. And he said he was seeing the world as if it was right side up. So his brain had flipped the image back over.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, that's so quick.
Yes.
And
that was That's exactly what I was horrified, and I'm so glad you're having this reaction right now because
and not only did his brain recorrect it, but were his understanding of where his arms are corrected as well?
He could run and do everything like normal. He said everything felt completely normal to him with the glasses on.
Do you think that, I don't know if this is related, but do you think that if you were right-handed, you would now become left-handed?
No, because the feeling felt the same to him.
It felt the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
But so
what
was a big adjustment for him, he said, was that when he was looking at something, at first he would reach with the wrong hand.
Yes.
Because the vision was flipped.
Yes.
So then he said eventually he was correcting and he was walking around going to the shops and interacting with everything completely normal. And he said the vision looked normal to him.
That is really interesting.
Then he said he took them off and it was upside down again.
Holy shit.
So he took off the glasses and the world was flipped.
Oh my God, dude, that'd be so fucking scary.
Yes.
How do you can't confidently say that your brain's going to fix itself?
Yes.
Oh my God, dude.
So he said he was seeing upside down when he took them off.
That is the same.
He was swapping hands again. Like he was say I'm looking at this laptop. Instead of reaching with his right hand when he wanted to grab something, his left hand went out. And he was like, oh my God. And then he had to change it.
That's
he
terrifying.
said it took about half a day to get back to normal.
That's terrifying, man. And that for me would be like the same reaction as if you just woke up and you couldn't hear for a day.
Yeah.
And you would be like, I don't know when this is coming back.
Yeah, but I mean, I think this is a person like, this is me and probably you talking about with a bit of anxiety in our bodies going, oh my God, this is so new. What if it never goes back?
Yeah.
But in reality, he was very grounded and he was very sure that everything would be okay. And I guess people were just a lot more chill back then with things going weird. Like, you know, people were dying heaps younger and that was just like normal. Anyway,
I like how you just brushed that off. People
Yeah.
just dying. It's normal.
So he did the experiment and the experiment was to prove, can the brain adapt? Is there a certain way that our brain has been programmed to experience the world?
Right.
Or is it that the brain has just adjusted to, well, we're right side up when we start, so that's the way the brain adapts. So he's pretty damn convinced from this experiment. It's the 1860s.
Wow.
He's pretty convinced from the experiment that even if let's say your head was upside down on your body, your brain could totally adapt to the unusual situation that it would be in. And for instance, if your eyeballs were rotated upside down, your brain would adjust.
That's really cool.
And your brain can totally adapt to any situation. It's not a set certain of wires and things happening in your brain that
it adapts.
And it made me feel like this, it reminded me of this experiment also done by Smarter Every Day on YouTube, that he was able to learn how to ride a bike that was, when you pushed left, it went right. So he swapped the handlebars, so pushing left wouldn't turn the wheel left, it would turn it right. And when you turned it right, it would turn it left.
Okay.
And he said, he told people, if you can ride this 10 meters, I'll give you $1,000. And no one could do it. After 6 months, he was able to learn it.
Wow. Okay.
And when he went back to ride a normal bike, he couldn't do it. He thought it was going to be a skill that you're going to be able to just do both. But it was not. Your brain has to rewire the circuits. And he was in Amsterdam trying to get on a normal push bike.
Yeah.
People were watching him and laughing. And he's like, I can't do it. I can't ride the normal one because my brain is stuck.
Is he stuck like that?
No. It took him 25 minutes. And then he's like, it's happening. It's back to normal. I got it. I did it. And then the brain kind of like swapped out. It was pretty cool.
It's cool like it quickly defaults back. It definitely switches back quicker than it takes to adapt.
Yeah, but
that's cool,
maybe if you just kept going for, the normal way of riding a bike has been learned for years, right? So if you rode, you could probably swap back just as fast, no matter, as long as one is the default. You just have to teach your body what to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Thoughts?
That is really interesting, man. I wonder how far you could push those type of experiments.
Yeah. I imagine it could be to any level in your nervous system.
Like it does really like just show like how you hear those stories of how people that can't see have a really good sense of hearing. Like the body overcompensates.
Oh, when you become blind, you get a really good sense of hearing. Like everything else makes up for it.
Yeah,
I guess, but this is, more. Excuse me. Learning a different neurological pathway in your brain. For instance, instead of now when I see that, I need to raise my left hand. Instead, now I raise my right hand. It's just teaching your brain a different circuitry to naturally go in towards.
Do you think that would be the same if you fully removed something and made your body adapt?
Yes, I think it can be applied to anything. It's called neuroplasticity. So, for instance, you know how people get into a car accident, they lose half their brain and they have to rehab, but then they live a normal life after? You heard these stories?
Yes.
These people get shot and massive injuries and they can completely recover, but they're missing half their brain. So how does that work? The brain can rewire. The brain can heal from, they say at any age, completely rewire itself no matter what. That's
fascinating.
Very, very cool.
Wow. That reminds me of this story I heard where this blind guy developed his own method of sonar to help him get around the world.
Yeah.
And he pretty much, I think it must have started as a kid, but he made a clicking sound in his mouth.
Yeah.
And he would use that sound reverberation to understand his surroundings. And he got it to the point where he was so confident that he was essentially using sonar as a blind person getting around. And to the point where he was ready to go to schools and teach it to blind kids. And they knocked him back because apparently it was going to be too distracting for the other kids.
Oh, Because what is he constantly clicking?
Well, I guess like kids would just be like around, but which is like, dude, they're blind. Like let them. If that's how they get around, they can get around that way, which is amazing. But
Yeah, because they're not going to use it 24/7 just to.
no, if they're sitting down in class, they're just listening. But like to walk around, to know your surroundings.
That's insane that you can get that precise with your hearing. Because
Yeah.
could he do it to then understand if a person was next to him?
I'm sure it was like full objects, like walk around a lounge room and not bump into couches and tables because he was
Wow,
using sonar.
that's pretty incredible.
I'll have to look it up. I remember hearing about that, and that's pretty cool, man. Like that's a full ability that he's taught himself, and it just shows you like what are the potentials of the body if taken things away.
You can pretty much learn to
full
cope with
sonar.
anything, because those guys as well that lose their arms and then they can do everything with their feet.
Yes.
I saw a guy working on a car maybe 2 months ago. He had no hands, no arms at all, cut off at the shoulders. And he was able to work on the car, change nuts, tires, torque wrenches, everything, screwdriver with his toes.
I think I saw a Guinness World Record episode where a guy made like so many sandwiches with his feet.
That's pretty crazy.
That's the same shit.
And I've seen people play guitar with their toes.
That's cool.
So, they're nailing the frets. I'm just like, crush my feet.
I saw a video the other day and a guy showed his feet and they were like primate feet. He looked like he had opposable thumbs as big toes, and they were like, the big toe was definitely lowered down on his foot.
Oh,
and it looked like he could like literally grab stuff.
I've seen that. Yeah, he had I know exactly what you're talking about. He had some sort of genetic defect that forced his feet to become this devolved version of themselves.
Yes.
It was almost like chimp feet. I saw it. He had toes, that were just completely off his foot. Yeah, that's it. That's him.
This is
yeah,
the guy.
I saw that guy.
Bring up the picture right here. But
Yeah, we'll bring it
for
up.
for those of you watching. But it's very fascinating. He looks like he has
His big toe
hands
is
for feet.
Yeah, it
But
looks like
primate hands.
how your thumb is not the tallest; it's the shortest of all your hands. That's what his foot looks like. It's very bizarre.
And it definitely looks like if he wanted to, he could hang off a tree.
Painful. Yeah, it looks super painful for some reason.
No, I think it just looks like a strong hand because that dude definitely gripping on stuff. He's
that is
holding on to
crazy.
stuff.
Yeah. Man, shoes would be so uncomfortable for him.
Have to be like custom shoes. What would you?
Would you barefoot it like that?
Yeah, I'd want my feet hands to be strong as fuck.
No. Would you walk around, the shops like that barefoot?
I want to walk around the shops like
You'd look
barefoot
like a
now.
splice alien. People would be pretty freaked out. I
think
reckon,
that would- you think that
honestly,
would like
you'd
a
be
body
pretty
mod.
embarrassed.
You'd be pretty embarrassed, but at the same time, I would love to take advantage of that at home. You could put your shoes on without
Crush a Coke can with your toes.
You could put your shoes on without bending down.
That's if he's got the dexterity. You don't know.
Dude, I saw a video. This guy's like doing like gripping motions, like he could hold an apple. He could hold an apple with
pretty
his
incredible.
feet, for sure. He's
All
got
right.
the grip strength.
Damn. All right, that's cool, man.
Would you how far would you live if no one was at your home and you're living by yourself and you got this ability? How far are you living ape life?
What do you mean? How far am I living?
Are you on all fours? Are you holding a book and eating an apple with your feet? With your feet, like what are you? How far are you pushing it?
What a strange question. I love it. I don't think I'm honestly too lazy to learn that type of skill, I think.
I picture him
Because you can do
max
do
production.
crazy stuff with your feet now, but are you going to practice it? Like I've seen people write with their feet. But do you want to practice that? Do you want to waste your time doing
this
that?
guy looks like he's got hands for feet.
Yeah, but I don't still think I would invest in one.
I'm picturing this dude, right? He's sitting back on the couch. He's holding a book with his left hand. He's swirling,
no, wait, I think
he's
it's his
swirling a
foot.
glass of wine with his right foot hand and then just like changing the record player with his left foot hand and then just like grabbing a drink with his right hand. Like just multitasking, dude.
That's amazing. But the first thing I thought you said was he's like chilling back, lying down, and he's got his toes holding a book and he's just reading so chill.
dude.
That's what
and
I pictured.
And turning pages with his foot hand.
Okay, that's pretty amazing. That's an amazing thing to picture, and I want to picture he's living that life too.
I hope he's living that life.
I hope so.
Yeah, that would be
But he was
amazing.
pretty open about it online, so you hope so.
You got to be. You'd been asked questions since birth. So, do you think it's evolution or de-evolution?
That's he talked about it. I remember seeing that post on Reddit. He spoke about it and said he had some sort of genetic condition that caused his feet to become more devolved.
Interesting.
It's devolved.
Okay.
It's the prior.
I saw this cool thing. If you were to bring your thumb and pinky together like this
Yes.
on a table
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and lift your hand towards your body, if you see a strong tendon bone pop up here on towards the pinky side, apparently not everyone has that. Some people, that will be very visible.
This?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got it. Yep.
Some people, that will be very visible to some people that have that. And apparently that's a trait that links back to our ancestors, primate ancestors, because it shows the grip strength that we would require to hold onto a branch.
Yes. So the pinky is so much of your grip strength.
Yep.
So if you lose your pinky, you lose, I think, something ridiculous, 50% of your grip strength.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well,
So it's huge.
yeah, I saw that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I think that's super interesting, dude.
It just shows that, like, not to think the human race is all the same person. There's definitely like slight evolutions happening amongst cultures.
Yeah.
And, when any culture can, have offspring with any other culture, and traits get passed down. But it's just pretty interesting to know that, like, to know that we are all human race, but at the same time we're not all from top to, like, head to toe the same.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many different variations. Who do you think's at the top?
Oh man, I feel like that discussion unfortunately is like bordering on racism, and but it's such an actual discussion you can have. But at the same time,
I don't think that's racist.
What's considered
I
top?
think it's just what's considered top,
Because
right?
it's like it would just have to be the most beneficial attributes that a person can have.
Here's my theory. It's not racist. If you're racist, I'm sorry, it's not racist. I'm telling you with any intention, it's not racist. If you're looking for physically strong, and that's your top level, it's Icelandic, Greenland, that type of area in the very high Arctic Circle. Those guys are the biggest on average humans and the strongest on average humans because they need to survive the cold winters. So you have to think a lot of this genetic factors and physical factors are going to be where you grow up and what your ancestry is. So just unfortunately, if you grow up and you want to survive these cold winters, you got to be huge. You cannot have average small people living these winters. They'll die. So you need to be able to hold more mass.
I don't think there's so many different body attributes that add to that. You can have scrawny people in Icelandic areas.
You can, of course, but I'm saying on average. If the most physical, I think the most consistent winners of the strongest man in the world challenges are all Icelandic people.
Right.
Like Hafthor.
The mountain.
The mountain,
Yeah.
Hafthor Björnsson. He's Icelandic.
I saw a cool video showing why darker skinned people have more volume in their hair, more frizzy hair. And the more pale of the skin, more like northern people have long hair that kind of just drapes right down. And I think it has to do with the shape of the actual hair follicle.
Was it like sun protection or?
So I think I don't want to mix this up, but I think the people that were in more colder climates, their hair type was cylindrical, which caused it to drape down, covering the nape, which would have insulated the heat better.
Okay.
And people that were in hotter, arid climates had like a semicircle hair follicle shape. So the hair was smooth, rounded on one top and then flat underneath, which caused it to curl so it would keep off your neck, which would allow the cool breeze to cool you down a bit.
Very cool. I like that. And that makes a lot of sense because a lot of Middle Eastern cultures are like that as well. They have very dense, strong hair.
Yep.
And they're in very harsh desert environments.
And also, like, hair is to help direct sweat away from cool down the
also
body.
protect your head from the sun a lot of the time. It's like, why do you have it there? It's because mostly to stop the skin cancer on your
that's
head.
why such blonde, fair hair is in
northern areas. And you have the fair hair and thin hair. Not thin hair. Very light colored skin, light colored eyes. The further you go to the poles, because you need more vitamin D. So that's just how it works. And that's not racist. That's just evolution.
I like that. I kind of like that. It's a pretty cool little trait.
Yeah. Bill Nye did a cool video about just showing skin color, and if you made it all one gradient around the equator, it's very dark, and towards the North Pole, it's very white. That's how it is.
Yeah.
Cool. You want to hit me some conspiracy stuff?
Conspiracy stuff. I I've been noticing this trend lately. So you know how old Hollywood was known for a lot of their media being propaganda based.
Yep.
Around the World War II and stuff like that. A lot of cinema came out around that time, but it had
You
an
mean like
agenda.
Nazi level?
I wouldn't say that, but like there was always like some patriotic propaganda, thing behind a movie to push an agenda.
Right. What country are you talking about?
America, Hollywood.
Oh, a lot of war films to say patriotism and America's going to win all the wars during high levels of war.
Yeah,
Yep,
stuff like that. But then also like
it's definitely
movies that
some
you wouldn't think are
propaganda
really
there for
pushing.
sure.
Movies that you wouldn't think are pushing an agenda.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not saying this is the case, but I've noticed like it's like within the last 5 to 10 years, there's been like a massive increase of movies portraying VR, virtual reality, and split personality, and I've just found it funny. Like we've had in the last like 5 years, we've had like Ready Player One, Free Guy, Moon Knight, and I've just found out you're gonna like this. Chris Pratt.
Oh god,
he's back at it again.
My boy.
He's
not my boy.
He's got this movie coming out, dude. The title, Cowboy Ninja Viking.
Cowboy Ninja Viking.
Cowboy
When's
Ninja
it coming?
Viking. I don't know, and I don't care. And it's about a government dude, government turning a dude with multiple split personalities into like a super soldier. But terrible movie, by the way. It's gonna flop. But what?
It won't flop. It'll kill it at the box office.
The cash cow.
Yeah.
What's with this heavy interest in virtual reality and split personalities?
It's because it's coming more mainstream.
Are they trying
VR.
to relax
more
people into
mainstream.
the whole idea of it to bring them on board?
I think it's just more people are used to it now, so it's something more relevant that people can understand a bit better.
Right.
I'm sure probably a lot of kids are asking for the VR Oculus Quest, which is that standalone VR headset that Facebook made.
Not to say that the whole concept is new. Obviously, you had like Tron back in the 80s and stuff. But
think about now the Oculus Quest. I think is 300 or in America it's like $200, and that is a full enclosed Oculus system that does not need a PC to plug in. You're just free. You just put it in. You're ready to go. You're in the world. You're jacked in.
Okay. Yeah, man. It's just it's strange. Like there's a lot of content out there about like split personality and VR at the moment.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So do you think that it's some sort of mass propaganda to get people okay with saying yes to going into this
I don't know, but
this digital world?
I'm definitely not saying that, but I'm definitely open to that thought. Like I don't know, it's kind of interesting because I know that like there's plenty of movies you could look up back in the day, like from like 80s and back that movies you wouldn't think had an agenda had definitely an agenda.
Okay.
Innocent
movies.
movies.
I can kind of get on board with saying potentially there's some sort of push here to the digital realm.
Yeah.
But do you think it's government related or it's just mass media related?
I guess we'll never know.
We'll never know. It's into the experience. I think it could be that it's becoming more popular, and so a lot of people are getting on the hype train of trying to do it. But it's kind of scary to hear that people are being so okay with it. Just jacking your mind into the digital world and it's stuff.
Yeah, and it's definitely like the type
or chip implants or whatever it is.
Yes, it's definitely the people that it's definitely the type of people that are like influencing is my life, and all you need is a company to come to them and be like, we want you to promote the new Oculus Meta collaboration.
Totally. Yeah, totally.
And they'll be like,
sure.
yep, done. And they'll be like, hey guys, just tried out my new Meta Oculus Rift suit. It's great. You should check it out. Use my coupon code.
Yeah, use my coupon code. Well, that's big.
Use my coupon code.
Things, but it's definitely
sell your
movies.
life 10.
It's definitely
10%
movies. Someone sent me a video the other day to say, "Can you work on this?" It was some sort of VR integration Quest app or something they were working on. For the Oculus Quest, they had it, and they had all this green screen footage. I passed off the idea because it wasn't shot well. So no,
Not up to the
whoever
quality.
shot it, you should be shot.
Do you think that the whole VR thing that's currently happening right now, and I know we touched upon this on the previous episode, but you know how we were talking about how 3D, everyone was jumping on 3D, like it was going to be the next craze?
Yep.
Do you think this has the potential to be another flop like 3D? Or
Ooh,
it
that's a
really
good
is going
question.
to set in where we are 100% going into the VR world? I think there's there's a lot of attention on it more than 3D was, because 3D was just more catered for watch a movie at home in 3D. It wasn't so much an experience.
I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be as big as everyone thinks it's going to be, because here's my
2 cents.
My 2 cents on it. When the internet came out and when the computer came out, everyone got on it. And it's just been a slow ever increase of everyone getting on it more and more.
Yes.
It hasn't been this explosion and then, people stopped using the internet because it's not cool now. The internet and computers and smartphones, they blew up hard. And they didn't slow down. They didn't need a push. They didn't need a big influx. You saw someone with it, you needed to have it. You saw the potential right away. You went to a friend's house, they had a computer, they had fast internet. You went home to your dad and that's all you ever talked about. And then your dad saw the potential and was like, yeah, we need to get this.
Yeah, okay.
Right? You show people VR and stuff now and they'll kind of think, yeah, that's pretty cool.
You're wowed by it, but it's kind of gimmicky.
But it's gimmicky.
Yeah.
And people don't see the potential, and it hasn't got that potential like the smartphone did, like the internet did. And
yes.
You saw that, and that was balls to the wall, zero break immediately.
I think because there's a lot of things you could explore within those things, where this is just like, oh, I'm in this world.
Yes.
Unless there's a different world that's like something that...
Unless there's some sort of revolutionary change where, you're jacking your brain in and it's full on.
Right.
I don't think it's going to take off like the internet has, like smartphones, like computers.
At the moment, it's what you said. It's just Ugandan knuckles.
Ugandan knuckles. And it's all you're going to get. And that's all. I watched the metaverse kind of beta testers and it was all... I think the beta test is already dropping off.
Interesting. I had this thought, a shower thought yesterday.
Yep.
And this could be so fucking stupid, but do you think the technology that the generation grows up into versus the generation that's brought up with the technology that's already there sees the technology differently? Because growing up, not only my dad, but I know all these older people around me would always be like, stop watching TV, it's going to rot your brain. Mm-hmm. And I was a kid, and at the time, that generation would have been in their 30s and 40s. And now we're reaching that generation, and now I've noticed that we're like, I want to get away from social media. That shit will rot your brain.
Okay.
But the generation that's hasn't seen it from its birth are just like, this is the most amazing thing. Like, we saw TV being the most amazing thing. We're hooked to that shit.
Okay.
Do you think that social media will become one of those things that we're going to be like, get off that shit or rot your brain, and then that generation will have its own thing?
Yeah, it can't just get better and better forever. Just like the TV became obsolete to something,
right.
Maybe in another 30, 40.
Radio, TV, internet,
maybe in another 10 years,
social media.
The VR jack your brain in thing becomes the new thing.
Yes.
And then everyone's like, well, that's seriously going to rot your brain. But I think that will be so much of a jump, and that'll be so, well, think about it. Like, okay, that's a very interesting question, and I like that you brought that up. Think about how when video games and computer stuff first came out, your parents were scared of it.
Yes.
Grandparents were like, whoa, like this is too much. It's going to fry your brain. Yeah. You don't know what it's going to do.
I don't want my son playing this game.
That could be the thing that's next for us, in that you're jacking your brain in and people are scared it's going to ruin your brain.
But the kids are going to be like, oh, this is so sick. Why don't you get it, Dad?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll be like, nah, I don't trust this.
That's when you get some serious serious problems, when you have people literally jacking their brains in.
But then is it just us being that generation?
No.
And it turns out to be okay?
That's some
like
scary
the TV
shit.
turned out to be okay?
Think about all the bugs and problems that are within just your smartphone. I can't get my smartphone to definitely work. Even the best smartphone in the world will have bugs, problems, crashing.
Literally last night I was using my flashlight to find my way to the door and my phone restarted on me.
Yeah. So can you imagine, it just starts having bugs and, this just rot your brain by accident. We just wiped out half your memory by accident. Can you imagine what that can kind of do? I would never get on that board.
I wouldn't, no. And I guess, what you're saying is like the technology, we luckily, radio, TV and all that had the potential to be bad, but there was laws put in place. Like you couldn't put subliminal messaging and things like that, where social media and VR is just fucking Wild West.
Exactly.
It's so easy for a kid to just develop this terrible shit, and a bunch of kids will just be on that stuff.
Yeah. So I don't think there might be something else that picks off, but it'd be scary to think that it's jacking your brain in, which is the only next logical step after VR, which is already pretty close.
Because I do see the poisons in social media already.
Yeah.
We haven't even hit VR yet. I saw a campaign yesterday. I was at the cinema. I was watching Multiverse of Madness, and an ad came on for cyberbullying among schools. And it was all about have the talk to stop bullying. And in my head, I'm like, bullying's never going to go away. I'm not saying don't have the talk. I'm against bullying, but bullying's always going to happen. The problem is that now you can, once you leave school, you're still getting bullied.
Yep.
And it's social media's fault. It's the same reason like why people are more burnt out, because the 9 to 5 doesn't exist anymore. You're still contactable after you clock off from work, because people are like, oh, dude, can you just send this email? And it's like 6 o'clock and people have their shit. So they're just like, yeah, I'll just quickly do work.
So you're thinking that's translating to bullying?
I'm just saying, like, technology is the reason why there's these issues are coming bigger than they are.
Yeah.
Bullying's always going to be there. Work's always going to be there. But technology is the reason why people are working longer hours, because they're still contactable. Before, you just literally finished work and that was it for the day. You did not touch work. You weren't contactable until you came back to work. Now it's just like, assume that you can just, can you just send this email real quick? Can you just do this job real quick? I know, sorry to contact you after hours. And cyberbullying.
But it's well within your right to say no. I'm not home.
These days though, man, I don't know where the companies are.
I do it.
Ushing you out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like, cyberbullying is, I sound like an old dude, but social media.
Technology will ruin me, Sonny.
Yeah, dude. Like the social media is the devil. It's the devil.
It's the devil.
Yeah.
Thomas Edison is the devil. I think that's it, dude. I think we're wrapped up. So okay, well, thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you so much.
We're going to see you definitely in the next episode of the Double Dose. We love you guys.
See you later.